Council, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is 6:30. On and we begin with roll call. Here. 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 Right, ladies and gentlemen, time. Right, Council, let's go ahead and move on to item number 4, and this is going to be the oath of office and swearing in Alderwoman. And so, first of all, I just want to say, and I'll step out over there because I'm going to take some photos. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Little comment for you. All right. Let's see. 5, and this is going to be citizens to be heard. This is the opportunity for citizens, visitors, and guests to address the city council on any issue or any item on the agenda in compliance with LGC section 551.007. City council may not discuss any presented issue, nor may any action be taken on any issue at the time. Citizens to be heard are limited to 3 minutes each. Attorney General opinion, JC 01639. We have anybody signed up? Okay, go ask. Once, anybody for citizens to be heard? Twice. All right, Paula, you can go ahead and annotate that. No comment. That. On to item number 6, public hearing. This is, if you can make note, it is 6:45 p.m. We're going to do A, conduct a public hearing concern on the final plat, Brett Soto subdivision replat, 12.56 acres, Dean Lot 25, Block 40, County Block 737, Idlefair County, Texas, as recorded in volume 980 on page 125 of the deed and plat records of Bexar County, Texas. Up. Anybody that would have comments concerning this? Once, twice. All right, we can go ahead and annotate. Close. Public hearing. End up at 6:46 p.m. This is B, conduct a public hearing concerning an ordinance of the City Council, City of Lytle, Texas, adopting a tax abatement policy of guidelines and criteria for governing tax abatement incentive persistent to Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code within the city limits of Lytle and its extraterritorial jurisdiction. Do we have any comments on that? Council, just so you'll know, the reason that we're actually doing that in mind, just go ahead and show Paula it is 6:47 and we are closing. All right, council, let's go ahead and go back to the open section and continue on with take action on items discussed. A, consideration and possible action concerning approval of the minutes of the regular city council meeting held on April 27, 2026.
Mayor, I'd like to start by making a motion to approve the minutes for a regular city council meeting held on April 27, 2026.
Got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Okay. Any discussion? Favor? Aye. Any opposed? That, let's move on to B. Consideration and possible action concerning approval of the payment of the bills.
Mayor, let me start out by making a motion to approve the payment of the bills.
Got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Big discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to get some more information on the Dana Herald reimbursement. Is that a cleaning crew or what is that? That would be page 1. Well, it's page 1 of 22. Finance. So why is there a Uber charge?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, reimbursement. So that was for when she went up to Dallas for training. So she.
Completely two separate things, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's two separate.
And, I mean, the amount's not that much, but is that standard to e-scooter versus renting a car or
Much cheaper.
just one-time purpose? Second item, page 3 of 22. That's the cleaning environment. What is this mold? So,
Yeah, so we had some complaints about from some of the employees at City Hall of possible mold being present at City Hall, so I took it upon myself to see if that was the case.
I know in the previous meeting you had mentioned. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's one more thing.
Sure.
The city park lights. What is the, I guess, what is the use of that? Do we charge, like for instance, I'm not pointing out the baseball, the Little League, but is there like a per use charge? Do
Yeah,
we
so-
bill anybody or is it just coming out of the general fund?
Yeah, so right now, we're kind of in like that test environment, right? So under the new contract, when it's in the contract, but it's not hard right now. We're kind of out how much we're not so that we can figure out what something have had interest obviously from other people.
Yeah, and I would believe for a community event like that, there's going to be good charge. However, if you have someone coming in and wanting to do like maybe a tournament,
Correct, yes.
something like
That would be the idea that we would be having to compensate us back for.
and by gathering this information, we would have a better idea. Charge.
Yes, there is a separate.
Yeah, actually, somebody just texted me that said the live stream audio. Okay, with that in mind, any further discussion on this? All in favor? Opposed? Good. Placing the mayor to execute any and all the documents necessary to effectuate such an agreement, providing an effective date. Zach, do you mind if I just go ahead and okay, so with this one, give me background, council. This is one go ahead and come to an agreement. We discussed one of the options. We actually put some weight behind the timeliness. We said about possibly maybe, hey, if you don't get it done, there's going to be a recourse. So we sat down and talked to them, and basically what they offered as part of the agreement, it's not completely ready. I'm going to ask for us to go ahead and table this, just so you know where we're at. what we were looking at, part of the agreement is for them to actually come to council. They will have from City Hall in the December to get all the documents that they in the agreement. If they do not receive all the documents, they will be here the first week of January, up to council and say, hey, up to council and say, hey, we haven't gotten it, we're not gonna be able to. There's a double check that goes on. The other check that will happen is at the end of February. That's when they're supposed to turn in their audit. If for some reason they do not have it done, part of the agreement is they will show up at every meeting after the last week of February, provide an update of where they're at until they. That's one of the ways that we can make sure. So that's where we're going with the agreement. If you all are okay, if I can, love to be like for us to table this, till the next week. Got a motion on the floor? Got a second? Okay, any further discussion? That, all those in favor? Opposed? All units to table. Come back to it in June. Appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to E. This is discussion and possible action concerning the status of the new elevated storage tank project. This is opportunity to hear from Scott. Come on up, Scott, and give us an update where we're at with the elevated storage tank project.
I heard from the contractor earlier today. Big picture, substantial completion right now is tracking equipment. For immediate tasks, the erection will continue. Following erection, the tank painting will occur, which should take the entire month of July. Any final activities related to tank's operation will occur during August. Allowing the city to take ownership. Same schedule I received last month.
Lights and everything on
Yes,
the
sir.
last phase, or
Yeah, correct. Yes, they're going to take it up at the end, make sure it's operating standing structure. Motion there. That's part of it.
so no, nothing else right now that we need to worry about slowing it down. We're
Correct,
still,
yes, sir.
everything is good. Council, anything at all? For the hearing in June, see how we're doing. I appreciate it.
Sir.
Thank you. Going to move on to F, consideration and possible action concerning the final plat of Fred Soto subdivision replat of 12.56 acres, being lot 25, block 40, county block 5737, Lytle, Bear County, Texas, as recorded in volume 980 on page 125 of the deed and plat records of Bear County, Texas. Zach?
So this particular plat is off of Fall Road, it's an existing 12-acre lot. We're going to split into two lots, roughly about 6 acres for one, 6.5. It's all the requirements. It would be
It's pretty big lots, both of them, right?
yeah, 1 6, 1 6.5.
So you don't have to worry anything about. Right, council? Discussion?
The properties for personal use, no commercial.
Yeah, good, that's all.
Anything else, council? Right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes, motion carried. Consideration and possible action concerning resolution 2622, resolution of City of Lidle, Texas, authorizing the intervention in AP Texas Incorporated application to amend its Rider Mobile temporary emergency electric energy facilities for the commission, approving the cooperation with the city served by AP Texas, hiring Lloyd Gooselink attorneys, consulting services to negotiate with the company to direct any necessary litigation and appeals requiring reimbursement of city rate-based expenses, finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed is open to the public required by law, requiring notice of this resolution to the company and the legal counsel.
Yeah, so Mayor and Council, we were approached by Lloyd Gosling attorneys, which is pretty typical when AP or to the electric submits these riders for their temporary energy electric facility applications, and so they approached us. We're asking participate in their intervention, their we have this. We've done this in the past. Right now, the way AP has submitted it, if approved, it would be a 60% increase to the rate for customers. Last time that this was submitted, they did, it was still an increase that was initiated by the Gosling as a part of the writer, but it was a significant so obviously staff is suggesting this intervention again, and letting Lloyd Gosling work it out and negotiating and trying to less of an increase for customers that we have.
Council, I know, just so you have a reference point, AP covers a portion closer to the value of that area. Motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Second. Discussion. Favor? Opposed? Keep us informed, Zach. Concern comes out of that. H, consideration and possible action concerning resolution number 2623, a resolution of City Council, City of Lidle, Texas, approving the terms and conditions of the agreement for an emergency interconnection by and between the City of Lidle, Texas and East Medina County Special Utility District, providing for incorporation of preamble, authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate such agreement, providing an effective date. Zach.
Yeah, so we got the, I think I informed y'all last council meeting that we got the final approval from CQ regarding the interconnection. East Medina did approve contingent on seeing the final plans, which they have received from us and Cobb Finley for the interconnection with us, and so they're reviewing that. But they have approved this agreement, so now it's just on this agenda for us to approve the agreement with them. I did in the data sheet highlight just some general terms of the agreement, but this has been looked over by our attorneys. Also all kind of appropriate purposes. Let's move forward. Obviously, once this is approved, have plans that are working with Cobb Finley to go ahead and put out for bid by next week. So contractors will provide by next month. Obviously, just for emergency purposes. If we ever have an issue and it goes down, something. Yeah, so we're responsible for design and the cost of putting it in and all that, but maintenance costs and things like that, we share costs.
It just honestly, this is way cheaper. It turned out to be the perfect location because of where the 6 inch. It's a 6 inch line, right?
Yeah.
It runs parallel, and it's literally right next to ours, and it's in a perfect place where there's a connection point, so you can build the box and put everything together in one place. So you couldn't have asked for better. At first, we were thinking of going across the street from the ground storage tanks in that area. We thought that would be the ideal place. No, we found this one is a little bit further down by well number 2. It saves us a lot of money. A lot
Less
better equipped,
congested
but
facilities.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing 100%.
Yes. But it'll be dual, so they'll be able to, if we needed to provide water, we can provide water.
With the understanding that no one.
Correct. Correct.
Under the emergency interconnect agreement, section 1, responsibility of the parties. Side there, it refers to 1/2. There's a typo there.
Okay.
Said record. Probably meant to be 1.
Oh, okay. I'll make sure to correct that in the final.
anything else?
That's it on mine.
Motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Thank you. Appreciate that. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Right. Awesome. Jacobson is ready. Let's go. Appreciate it. Thank you for your help with that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to I, consideration and possible action concerning resolution number 2624, resolution, City Council, City of Lytle, Texas, approving the terms, conditions of agreement, for farm lease of the city property by and between the City of Lytle, Texas and Scott Conover, providing for incorporation of preamble and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate such an agreement and providing.
All right, so mayor and council, mayor probably can give some more context to this as well, but, so we had, the city had an agreement back in 2018, that was approved by previous, administrations for, a farm lease agreement, with Mr. Bob Roberts Sr., for the property that, we own, next to the, pool, facility. And Mr. Roberts was allowed to basically use that to collect hay, plant it, and use that for his purpose. We were to collect $10 for that. I think the original agreement was $10 per acre. He wasn't necessarily paying that all the time, and it was only good for a year, and we didn't even know really about the agreement. So, and honestly, Mr. Roberts wasn't always the one doing it. He actually was having Scott as the one that was sometimes doing it. So obviously, Mr. Senior has passed now, and Scott approached us, Mr. Conover approached us and said, "Hey, I'm willing to do it, going forward, and be interested in that." So we basically have redone up the lease agreement and are offering to offer that to Mr. Conover. It's already most of the time anyways, for that, the same terms as Mr. Roberts had. I think when Austin sent it over to me, it was $10 an acre, but because that wasn't even being followed, I did just change it to just $10 per across the board, just because that's what was done previously. Anyways. So obviously, that's what was sent to Mr. Conover. And that's what. So hopefully that's what was cool with.
Austin, you reviewed this, you good? At any time, if for some reason we decide we need to do it or something, I think he maintains it pretty much. Like
Yes.
cutting it, trimming, doing everything that happens out.
Yeah.
Council? Or do I have a second? I'll let it open it up for discussion. Question? Favor? Opposed? Do all the work for this, and we actually have a document. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at J, consideration of possible action. Oh, let me pause right now. We're still waiting.
Still waiting on it.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and press on then. J, consideration and possible action concerning resolution number 26-27, a resolution of City Council, City of Lytle, Texas, approving the terms and conditions of an agreement by and between the City of Lytle, Texas, and TRC Engineers Incorporated for a task order regarding Lot 8, Block 40, 823 Live Oak, vacant subdivision review, trying for incorporation, preamble, authorizing the city administrator to execute all documents necessary to effect an extension agreement, providing the
So we received, Mayor and Council, a task order for the review of a plat for 1823 Live Oak. This is for a single cutout of a single lot on that particular address. So this is just for TRC to get going on the review of the plat of that lot. In the amount of 3,200, and that will be built as you go back to it's the standard. Well, the existing lot, I'm not sure. It's a pretty large lot.
Get a
but
regular-
the
minimum.
the minimum is what they're wanting to carve out.
Council. Much discussion. The only thing I have is Scott, please, you've been here, you know what the council always looks for, with utilities and everything, please get with Pete and Austin, let's make sure that everything is gonna match up with what's going on in there as part of your review. We don't have to go back again to them, so. Spend a little bit of time with our public works folks to make sure. For the customer and for the city. Right, got it in mind? Those in favor? Any opposed? All yeas. All right. Appreciate that, council. Let's go ahead and move on to K. Consideration and possible action concerning resolution number 26-26, a resolution of City Council of City of Lytle, Texas, approving the terms and conditions of change order number 1 to the agreement by and between the City of Lytle, Texas and Ace Construction LLC for Railroad Street, McDonald Street, 12-inch street, water main loop, CSB number 2025-0202, providing for incorporation of preamble authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate such an agreement and providing an effective date.
All right, so mayor and council, obviously back in April of 25, we approved that 12-inch water main roof project. One of the things we've noticed as a part of that project is especially the hydrants that are on the Railroad Street side are pretty vulnerable to people backing up and parking along that portion. And so we asked the contractor to look at placing bollards that we've had in some other areas around town around that, but obviously that would constitute a change order with some additional costs associated with that. So there's a couple on Railroad, and then there was one other that we had asked for as a part of the project. And so the cost for that is $6,500 total to do that. And so we're asking, or the contractor has submitted that. Scott reviewed that, looked at the numbers, and exporting that obviously for a change order to be considered by y'all to the contract. That's
Very, very good thing. Very vulnerable, even if they're driving on the road and somebody gets off the road.
I'll tell you, the mayor and I were, and this was early on in the project, but we were out there. Something that got off. So one of them already. So.
This is gonna be worthwhile. I mean, if we lose one and we gotta work on a line, that's easy right there. Yeah. Discussion. The only thing, Pete, Austin, please work with them in location, think of long-term in case you need to replace them or do anything out there for maintenance and put them in the right place, not only protecting them, but making it accessible for people. It's something needs to be changed or worked on. Right, with that in mind, all those in favor? Any opposed? Ayes, motion carries. Keep moving on, we're doing really good. L, consideration of possible action concerning ordinance number 26-10, an ordinance of City Council of the City of Lytle, Texas, adopting the tax abatement policy of guidelines and criteria for governing tax abatement incentive persistent to Chapter 312 of Texas Tax Code within the city limits of Lytle and its territorial jurisdiction, providing for a severity clause, dealing ordinance, and conflict, setting an effective date.
Yeah, so mayor and council, I know we did this last time and the mayor referenced it during the public hearing, but we neglected, my fault, but we neglected to hold a public hearing at the last meeting for this particular ordinance when we adopted it. So we're just making sure we're covering all the bases. It's kind of embedded in that particular chapter when you read through it. So I just completely missed it. So we went back and talking with Austin, I said, you know what, let's just make sure we cover our bases, do the public hearing, and re-adopt the ordinance. So make sure we're all
So
good.
the ordinance, no change from the last.
No
time we
change from the
adopted it,
ordinance
still the
language,
same.
just re-adopted. So that's all this is.
Council, you know, the same thing. That in mind? That, second? Second? Yes, sir. Second. Okay. Discussion. Those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. We're doing good. Doing good, we're doing good. Still need to get out of here. And get him on the phone. Still, that's okay. We'll just
I
keep going. Let's keep going. We'll come back. He did cut down. It's not as long. That's a good sign. Yeah. Good sign. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to M, consideration and possible action concerning employment of Mayor Pro Temp for a term of 1 year as prescribed by local Government Code Section 22.037.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Alderman David Emery, Mayor Pro Tem, for a term of 1 year as prescribed by local government code, section 22.037.
Got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Thank you. Discussion. All right, that in mind. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All yeas. All right, David.
Yeah, no problem.
It's okay, we got a few things. All right, actually, we have been pretty busy with a few things. We got divide and conquer, right? We gotta do that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to end presentation, discussion, and direction concerning budget policy assumptions for fiscal year 2026, 2027. Vaughn and Zach.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, same general stuff as last year, guys.
Thanks, Scott.
um, some of the same stuff, obviously, as we've talked about before, unless, I'm sure y'all read through it, but unless y'all have any real big changes, obviously, as we talked about before, taking a conservative approach, just want to make sure we're all on the same page with how we're approaching everything. Use of the property tax, the existing property tax, to start off with and kind of see where we lay. We included the preliminary numbers, and we did include a breakdown. So using the low end of that to start off with and seeing where we lay. You can see on that breakdown that was provided where the preliminary was last time compared to what ultimately was the final. So I think keeping that low end of that range is always kind of smart because the preliminary always seems to be a little bit higher than ultimately what final comes out to be. And then we kind of stuck true with the 6% increase on insurance. The CPI right now, we're doing this a little bit earlier than we normally would because we canceled the second meeting. So right now the CPI is showing 3% for the area. So I did include that as well. But yeah, generally we're all kind of matching up to how we've done it before, but just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page. The other thing that was included was the council priorities, and I know I asked not to rank them. I did get a few feedback, some of y'all wanted to kind of just have a quick conversation, so that way we can kind of make sure that list is final, so I can send that out. So that way, last year there was a couple different ones that were sent out and were ranking various different lists, and so it wasn't a full. It just kind of got a little wonky when ranking. So just want to make sure that we're on the same page with that. It seemed like the responses that I got from the email did kind of agree that being that where we're at with the new water well probably needed to come off. The comprehensive plan being that we did get the general land office grants secured, that maybe that made sense to come off. Yes.
For some reason, I want to say that was last year.
Yes. I did get feedback about possible part-time grant writer. I got possible grant on street added as well. So wanted to have a conversation about that. Make sure we're all on the same page. If there's anything that else needs to be removed or added, that way we can have a true comprehensive list before we rank it all.
parks, I know we talked about with the maintenance portion of it, but then we're gonna need to have somebody that kind of manage everything going on. I need to look at time position, manage on the operation, especially when it's going to year-round facility, collecting money, managing everything that we have, ideas, other things. Having employee, employee maintain the field and keep it in the right condition. Ideally, it would be great to have one person do both, right? Whichever way we can actually do that, I think we're going to do some sort of stuff. Busy, whoever has, they're going to be dealing with food. No?
Let me speak to the one that I suggest, the hospital first, part-time employee, grant writer. I'm suggesting this because of, first of all, I think we have a need for, just generally speaking. Zach and I went to a meeting down in the Peak last month concerning water issues and grants for water. We all know how critical water is in this area. There are several initiatives going on. The state, as they showed us last month, during their slide presentation, the state has a number of grants available for cities for water projects and water issues with water health. But you have to sit down and have to write. So, in talking to the folks there, seems like we could be eligible for several of these. So, this is a position that if the right person in part-time, dedicated to us, focusing on utilities type grants that are available. They would pay for it. Help us move forward. No, we're going to be. So I think that's something that's very timely. Otherwise, we have to come up with money. It's out there, and the other thing about this, the lady who was making the presentation last time, let us know that there's help out there to help us get together everything we need. Probably help us write it, but so information. Well, we just need a dedicated person to keep that pretty busy. So all this work with white grants as well. That's something.
You guys think of anything else?
I guess,
You,
so, is it I mean, are we agreeing to knock off, I guess, can we start, can I, are we agreeing to knock off the comp plan and the water well based on where we're at with those? As a group, okay. Is there any other that we feel like we can knock off based on the list that was provided? Or are we pretty solid that everything else is generate? I know some of them are kind of, I mean, there's a couple different drainage ones on there. There's probably not, so some of it is combining stuff, I feel like, you know. Yeah. Part of it is we're waiting on the natural. Right?
That's-
So,
Yeah, I think that is So what we do with this, of course, we narrow it down, is maybe we can the paving and drainage. I mean, thing that then there's some that we combine, but the important thing is that we actually go ahead and vote for us to council.
That's what we're doing. We're setting a priority, but we're not.
Yeah. But I want to make sure what happened last year, and it was fine. We got there, but there was when we ultimately ranked. There was a time where a couple of people ranked two different lists, and so the ranking got really so it ultimately the same top five generally came out. So I think it's fine, but I just want to make sure we're all ranking the same.
And if you could,
So-
so the executive session, present this and have us all agree.
Yeah.
We could do that. That way we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
The only question I have was, whatever happened to, for whatever reason I forgot, the EMC strategy.
We fired them,
Right, that was, right.
or we let them go. I should say.
Initially, that was their purpose. Right, and it was based on performance. Yeah, I was just looking through my notes and I know it was through 9/30 of 26.
Yeah, we ended up letting them.
Yeah. I think David has a good idea, and if we could look into somebody like that, but should try to look into a contractor type base. I don't know how we would pay on having as a contractor instead of a part-time employee.
Yeah, I mean, there are, so I know that with like PC, we were paying like a monthly fee. And based on that,
Right.
bringing it back. Well, there are ones out there that don't pay much. Just paying when they obviously
So there's a lot of options.
there are options, but yeah.
Narrow it down. Once we get the base rankings on there, then we can take the next step together. It is a big thing. It's better for us to be able to narrow it down to a base. Will say, I mean, right now, for me, just thinking on top of my head, the number of homes that we got going up, and everything else, I think of
We are, I will tell you that Adrian told me about a week, 2 weeks ago, we're at 75%, which is when we're supposed to be on time. But we have it.
We're already ahead.
We are ahead of the game, but that's
Yeah.
we need to be.
I think we need to put a little bit now. We're at a point where we need to start because it's about eight. It's like a two-year process for the wastewater treatment plant. 18 months to right. We have done. We're ahead of the ball game.
Yeah,
Before we hit 75%. I appreciate Scott. You helped us out with that, with the numbers. We were able to get ahead of that. Now, but I'm just throwing it out there. You know, things. That one is big. That's 60 mil.
Yeah, we're saying about 6. Sell some more churros.
Fundraiser or baby Hueys. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had taken out we had playground equipment that was taken out. I guess that was last year. It's falling apart. With that. 2 years ago now. So we just honestly have put that in last year. That's it. Now I will say that that was in the area that now we're talking about maybe having to put field. So, but I still think there needs to be some.
Yeah, the splash pad is good. The only thing is we're gonna need to do some research because I can tell you that some of the ones that are around us, we're having problems now with maintenance. So be able to take care of it. So
Yeah, I mean,
that's the thing is so we start that's the conversation. So we start looking at the person that is going to be running it. We need. I'm going to be honest. We need to have an office there. We need to have somebody dedicated. It is extremely busy with managing LFP ports.
I will tell you, I've been contacted in the last 2 weeks by 4 separate groups wanting, right, like little league ends. I need to do. They're not like, yeah, I really need to do it. Like, no, I need to do it now. Like, I mean, they're like pressuring. I yeah 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 yeah. And it's great. And it's great, but I can't like I can't like
The number of hours when you talk to somebody, their schedules, they literally have to adjust them down. They're gonna be people that have to be there on the weekend. They have to. So you got to have somebody that's going to have the flexibility. I mean, we need to give them the help, but the person needs to be there. But put off there, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna get busier, and we're getting a lot of attention. We already know the reason that Zach was bringing up about the other field is because requesting for additional tournaments that have now get a bigger range.
we can I can consolidate this. I think some of these are kind of similar. I can play with this
Consolidate
and-
the ones that are the similar.
Yeah.
Okay, and then go ahead and put that list together, send it out. And whatever the half is, let's get the half.
Okay.
And that's what we're gonna go there for. Right, that doesn't mean that we might have a side project.
No.
This is what basically saying, this is where we wanna spend the majority of the half. Just like they did. We told to work on the well, here we are already. And ready to get it done hopefully by September, October. Yeah. So we're getting close to being able to get that. That's what we came up with last year. We came up with a comprehensive plan where we at. Are we taking care of it, right? Are we taking care of it?
Yeah, we've secured funding.
Yeah. So those are the things that's what we want to do as part of the process. That would be my recommendation. If you all feel otherwise.
While y'all are doing department reports, I'm gonna give him a call.
So is there anything else that you need concerning this?
Unless there's any other feedback based on the data sheet, if there's anything else, but, obviously we're working. I'll be working while I'm out later this month, and preparing for that upcoming workshop with y'all.
Right, so no action on that one, it's just basically discussion.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, council, let's see, 7:41, I think we can go ahead if everybody's good. Let's go to the first one. Good. Okay, item number 8 and A, we have animal care and control. Good, Mark? When did it come? We'll be in next. Every month. They busy?
Not right now, but I think once we start announcing.
Let us know. Great job. Great, let's go ahead and go to B. Sandra. IPad.
We had 104 computer users and 115 with the kids. And took out 1,300 staff per day. Still working on the file driver. They haven't put out the numbers yet for that for last month, so I'll have some numbers next time. And had 3 new library card accounts, 23 renewals, and 8 April notifications. A little slow. Story time and craft. They moved the craft to actually the morning. The ladies decided it was better because it was kind of conflicting with kids in the afternoon and there was no space. So, and I didn't have enough. I had Atascosa County Mullen Resource Fair. April winning my place. It's Special Olympics over there. So we go over there and give out pamphlets and information. And then I had an online training for the Health Library. And we're still working on it. We're done with the teen fiction. We still need the nonfiction, which is about 400 books. And we'll be done with that and then we can move to the reference group. We're working. We're still offering the curbside. That top one was Texas history, and then it was gardening. Sorry, gardening, and then poetry, and then Parkinson's awareness. And that one was stress awareness. Oh, autism. Had a lot of. And then last Friday, the lady from the Pleasanton Women's Club came by. But they came by and they brought us a check for the library. So they gave to all 5 libraries. So story.
Do you have anything coming up this summer?
We're working on some reading programs. Should start like June, the last 2 weeks in June. That Monday should be good. We're waiting on like that. The road starts to just see what we can. I need to think about.
Still waiting. We have a meeting with them this month.
And then we're also going to probably do that home party again.
Oh, that was a big hit.
Yes, kids really like that.
But keep us informed so we can get the information out for everybody.
And I did talk to Frontera about the wireless, the Wi-Fi. So they're going to work with me.
Thank you. We appreciate it. All right, Pete. Middle. Oh.
Huh?
You're awesome, boy.
We had 95 work orders, 93 water, 6 meters installed. Main breaks we had 1. Break meter we had 4. Service lines, angle stop was 0. Lock was 0. Service line we had 2. Customer we had 3. Read H2 we had 53. Read H2 customer we had 9. We had final and cut off list. We had 5. Cut up. The final in H2O was 5. Cut off list we had 10. Stop again. Pennsylvania four-pointer. That guy got stung by bees, cutting grass.
That over at that old shack.
That old shack by
Yeah.
the fire department.
It took like 3 trips, right?
Yeah.
Something with a vacuum. Right, that she uses.
That new tower, parts of it. Main break we had.
The last break, is that the one over by the donut shop?
Then the one was the third time we found it.
Good. You're doing really good. We're still at 21.
How you doing on the renovation of the?
Oh, we sold it. It's going. We're waiting on it. They're gonna hook up with the internet and all that, and once we get that done. Yeah, we got all the walls, everything, every room's painted, the floors, we're painting the floors right now.
He's rapping.
Yeah. Long tile.
It, in front of it comes from the water tower and it goes down the road all the way to school. You notice, no, actually it comes across the intersection. Is it a fiber line or somebody like threw the line? It's right next to the road and it goes off. Have you noticed that? Yeah. You drive over there. In the old days, remember you used to get, I know I'm dating myself, but that's, you had the low line all the way. This one it looks like a small little fiber line. It goes all the way through 463 and it goes down all the way to the light street. And it's along the edge. Take a look. Take a look. It's literally right there.
know,
You
right?
see it. It's a little real thin one. You can't miss it. You just, yeah. It's interesting. It's run. Unless, like you said, it was a new company trying to bring fiber into Lidl. They just threw it down the road. What the heck? We don't need no easements. We just throw it down the road. I know. Take a look. Council, any other questions? You're doing a great job. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, man. Yo,
I haven't looked at it, but let's rock it together. Calls for service was 211. I forgot you had a
Hey.
report. I looked at it 10 minutes before I came
you
down
just
here.
sounded like Richie there for a little bit.
I didn't know.
Richie came out. right
Chief's like,
there.
hey, can you just go to the meeting? I was like, yeah, I got it. Well, I forgot we did a report 10 minutes before I came here, so I was like, I wouldn't go. So 211, I was doing real quick. Building checks was that big one, 473 there. 193 citations issued. Everything good. Meeting. Lots of rest. Very busy time for rest. I think it's way of our town moving forward. With growth comes that kind of I would like to say it's always people from the outside coming in, but it's not. It's everything. As long as we continue to be the hub for the surrounding areas, we're going to continue to have higher volume. wheels at the tire shop. They left them out back. Looks like a theft to me, but okay, they left these for somebody to pick up. Best of brisket and Ninja slushy machine. So we'll be pending warrants on that. We've actually got him identified. He's got multiple theft convictions with felony on him. She said she was doing him a favor because he was driving safe, but she's going to pick up the car. Favor. Theft of a 2022 38-foot landmark Cherokee travel. That was kind of odd. It's been parked down on Wisdom Road. They stored there at a family member's house and came out to do some work on it. Very strange. We don't really have that kind of stuff. I guess whoever drove by it enough and probably somebody's ever there at the house, that trailer's there, and last on it was gone. Theft unknown number of briskets from HEB. And that's from here in a month. They've been hitting HEB pretty good, but I tell you, HEB's lost prevention team, not the local. They're good here. They're actually lost prevention guys. The last case we had, one of those cases up there, we didn't have the people identified. They have no, so once you commit a theft, we were able to identify and get good info. They put that into their LPR system. The second that car hit our HEB, they pulled them up on camera, and it was such a quick reaction from them contacting me, getting our guys out there on the street, go over there and make contact with the local police. Like, what are y'all doing here? What do we have to do? So we're going to continue that. We want criminals to know that we commit crime here. We're like, yeah. She really acted. Did a walk with Christ.
Yeah, that was the walk. That was the passionate cry.
Oh, passionate cry. That's what it was. That is the lockdown drill. We always assist with those. It's good for some of our other day guys to go see what the school does. They know to be prepared, and we're learning some of the new steps for gaining access. Your site. It's just something we use to. All of our officers, if you don't know this, when we commission an officer, we have a fingerprinted and we track. So midnight, for instance, if I go and commit a crime at midnight and I get arrested, the chief gets a notification. The second my friend gets that, the chief gets a notification from your office. And just right then, we need to take action. Right. So that's just a requirement that. John Cortez, created a 5-day SFST instructor course in Abilene. We did our warrant roundup. I think it. Yeah, only here I didn't find. Literally didn't find. School conducted a school lockdown drill. Water second annual spring. Keith and David went to a spring link together. We escorted the Lytle basketball team, and I guess the been doing the baseball team. They're doing excellent. I don't know. Oh, that was baseball. I thought it was out. There you go. There. I got to figure out. Fire marshal activities, standard cases. 9 cases filed, 9 charges, 5 felonies, 5 cases.
Had one on the 2 previous trailer.
Oh, a food trailer.
Yeah.
So someone came down one day. I was there. They came down for a food trailer inspection, but it didn't pass. Off. Make corrections and come back.
So that's the one that was done.
I'm assuming that's the one. Yeah. Danny put this together. So if I'm off, then one of the other guys can do the trailer. I remember doing one last. A lot of background stuff there. Other law enforcement all right there, delivering evidence. I believe for your fire department contract, you probably already taken that. It- I don't know. I know for the ESD side, they commit a month. You see what they respond monthly in the county for the ESD. Part of just for us to give them a check monthly, they've got to get reports in with financials every month. EMS wise, you can call the EMS director, but I think some of the last conversation, the county manager, they're ready to put another in. They're not. That day, the ambulance was actually, we were lucky. Our ambulance was out on another call. The sign refusal was halfway back town. So, but
Fire department is the number one.
probably gonna, I think it's gonna be more maybe on our end because of where we're trying to put them and what we're trying to renovate. It may not do what we need it to do. Because it's not the old days of, hey, put a room in there, 4 beds, 1 shower. Now you're gonna have 4 bedrooms, 2 showers. There's people sleeping there. We're gonna have to put sprinklers in it. It's not gonna be a very cheap.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. Ready? Okay. Well, it is 8 o'clock. Do you guys want to take a break and then do that? What do you guys want to do? That'll probably be what, maybe about 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Move on. You guys are good. Okay. Can I get a motion for us to go ahead and move back to item number C?
Yeah, I make a motion to go back to item C.
The open session. Do I have a second? Second it. All right. All those in favor? Go ahead and move on to C. This is a presentation and acceptance of fiscal year 2024-2025 audited comprehensive annual financial report prepared by Brooks Watson and Company, certified public accountants. You should have this in front of you. Copy of this with slides for him to go ahead and present findings.
Good evening, everyone. Can y'all hear me okay?
Good. Okay. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Sorry I couldn't be there in person tonight. I really appreciate the flexibility. Sometimes these things happen, but I'm glad I can at least have this call with y'all and go over some of these numbers. So I'm sure Zach and the mayor has mentioned, my name is Mike Brooks. I'm the audit partner with Brooks Watson and Company over your audit. And you should have received the set of audited financials that we prepared and provided to the city. So the audit report, along with our 2 audit letters, as well as a summary presentation. So hopefully you'll have that available in front of you. Yeah. Okay, great. That presentation, I'm going to keep it pretty short. It's pretty high level, so I'll go over those numbers and statements. And then if you guys have questions, we can certainly circle back and talk about anything in more detail. Right, so first, I just want to give a brief overview of the audit process. So the audit's broken into 3 general phases. The first is the planning and risk assessment phase. So we came out this summer and performed a portion of that, but that's where we're coming out. We're trying to find out what's been going on this year, figure out what's new. We're going to be reviewing all the city's internal controls. If we have any findings and recommendations in that process, we'll provide them to the city. But ultimately, we walk away from that with a good picture of the state of the city as far as the internal controls go, and a preliminary audit plan. So how are we going to tackle some of the audit areas? So anytime we have an area maybe that has less controls than others, we're going to increase some of the testing procedures that we perform over those areas. Or maybe if something is high risk or new, we're going to adjust our procedures at that point to make sure that we test that appropriately. The next stage, this is what you're typically used to with an audit. This is a year-end audit. So this is when we'll come out after the books have been closed for the year. So we're going through and reviewing all the material, assets, liabilities, revenues, expenditures, anything that doesn't meet our materiality threshold, we are auditing. So that may consist of analytical procedures, or we're testing the supporting documentation, so those source documents for all your cash, your expenses, where all the approvals made, was the bank reconciled, all the various things that go into those assets and liabilities we're testing. And then the final stage is just the conclusion and reporting. So this is the wrap up of any findings, and then the preparation of the report and presentation of the report to council.
We're moving to slide number 3, right, Mike?
We are, yeah, thank you. All right, so this slide is just going to go over the components of your report. So it's a pretty lengthy report, but it is broken into several distinct sections. So the first section is going to be your auditor's opinion, and that's followed by the management discussion and analysis. It's just a narrative discussion about some of the changes and some of the numbers. That's followed by your basic financial statements, which include your government-wide fund level and notes to the financial statements. And then you have the required supplementary information. This, for the city, includes your budget to actual for your general fund, as well as your TMRS pension information. Okay, next slide. This slide is what we, as auditors, consider to be the most important contribution to your report. This is our independent auditor's report. So everything else you see in this report, from the financial data to the various statements and all the significant accounting policies and analysis, that is all derived from city financial data. So those numbers should reflect what's in the city's accounting system, and they're presented in what's called a GAAP basis, so generally accepted accounting principle basis. So that means they're accurate. Our audit opinion will review those numbers and these statements in the audit report and make a judgment on whether those numbers are reliable and accurate. So you have several possible outcomes of this letter. You can have what's called an unmodified opinion, which means everything is as it should be, everything is materially correct. Or you could have something called an adverse or disclaimed opinion, which means virtually nothing is correct. So you really don't want any of those latter. The middle stage is what's called a modified audit opinion. It means we were able to issue an audit opinion over everything but X, Y, or Z. So we have a few items that are scoped out of our audit opinion. This could happen for various reasons, and believe it or not, I actually just presented one that had a modification in it, which doesn't happen that often, but that's the meeting that I had tonight. And this can happen from us just not being able to perform our audit procedures due to missing or incomplete or inaccurate information. But that wasn't the case, and we're happy to say that we were able to issue a clean, unmodified audit opinion on the city's financials.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep.
Slide
All right.
5.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so this is just going to go over several financial highlights. So these are high level and some of our consolidated and accumulated numbers. But as of the end of the year, total assets of the city across all funds, less total liabilities, had a net balance of about 14 million. So this is similar to familiar with a balance sheet or a statement of net worth. Your governmental funds reported a combined ending fund balance of 166,000. This was a decrease for the year of 829,000. Your unassigned fund balance in the general fund this year had a deficit, so actually a negative balance of 129,000 at the year end. And the city had an overall increase in net position. This is on the full accrual on a consolidated level, all your governmental funds and your utility funds at an increase of $529,000. Next. Right, so this slide is just gonna show you the total governmental activities revenue. So again, this doesn't include your utility funds or your enterprise funds, but it has your general fund and all your special revenue funds, debt service and capital projects. So for the year, total revenues, total citywide revenues were 4.8 million. This was an increase from the prior year of 341,000. The three largest being property taxes, which totaled 1,175,000, and there was an increase of just under 200,000 from the prior year. Your sales taxes totaled 1.8 million, at just a very slight decrease of $167. And your charges for services totaled just under 1.3 million at an increase of about 19,000. All right, next.
Slide 7.
All right, so this is the summary, the flip side of your revenues, but this is your governmental activities expenses. So expenses for the year were 4.9 million. This was an increase of about 438,000. The three largest, again, being public safety, which totaled 1.4 million. There was a decrease of 71,000 in public safety. Your street expenses totaled 222,000, slight decrease of 32,000. And your administration expenses totaled 2.1 million, and then an increase of 523,000. Right. So here's slide 8. This is a summary of your changes in fund balance for your governmental funds. So this includes your general fund, which is considered a major fund, and then your other governmental funds, which are your smaller debt service, capital projects, or special revenue funds. So those funds, if they reach a certain size, they're considered major and they're presented separately. But until they reach that threshold, they are consolidated and reported as other governmental funds. So that's what you see here. So on the left-hand side, I just want to go over the changes in fund balance for each of these. So looking at the general fund had a decrease in fund balance this year of 940,000. So you started off with a fund balance of 995,000. You had your decrease this year of 940, and that left you with an ending fund balance of 55,000 in the general fund. Your other governmental funds had a ending change in fund balance this year of 110,000. It looks odd here because there is no beginning fund balance. That was because the city pulled a lot of these funds out of the general fund this year and presented them separately in the other governmental funds. So going forward, it's easier to track that way, and it's better to present it that way. Okay, so the next thing I do want to go over here is just your ending fund balance for your general fund. So the total fund balance is 55,000. However, within that there is what's called a non-spendable portion. It's related to prepaid expenses. But the number you want to pay attention to is going to be your unassigned fund balance for the general fund. So that amount should generally, it should certainly be in the positive position, but it also, cities should maintain what they consider to be an adequate number for emergencies. Almost look at it like a rainy day fund. The GFOA recommends at least a 2-month reserve when you look at that compared to your operating expenditures. So last year you guys were in good shape there. This year, due to the significant decrease, that number is lower than it should be. So the city should make plans and steps to bring that number up to at least a 2-month reserve or whatever the city determines is an appropriate amount. Okay. Numbers. Slide 9. So slide 9 here is the budget to actual for your general fund. So this looks at what you anticipated with your final budget, and then your actual results, and then either a positive or negative budget variance. So if you received more revenue than you thought you would, that would be a positive revenue variance, which is what happened. You received about $3,300 more revenue than you anticipated in total. The expenditures, however, had a negative expenditure variance. So you budgeted for 4.6 million, but your actual expenditures this year were just under 5.4, and the difference there is a negative budget variance of 740,000. So that, along with your some differences in transfers or other financing sources had an overall net negative budget variance this year of 800. So the way that number there on your bottom right is determined is you thought you were going to have a decrease of 110,000, 109,999, but your actual decrease was 940, and the difference between those two for the 800. All right. Slide 10. Okay, so on slide 10 here, we have the statement of changes in net position for your enterprise funds or proprietary funds. These funds are different than your governmental funds. They're not funded by taxes or imposed fees. They are funded by what's called exchange revenues. So the city is providing a service and charging rates for that service. Now these funds, they're operated a little differently than your governmental funds. They should have the rates that do fund these funds should be set at the right level, and that level should fund your operations, debt service, and any capital improvements. So, for instance, if you have a utility fund and the rates are set too low, and you're paying more than you're bringing in for the water and other services, and that fund is losing money, that rate should be reviewed and adjusted, or there should be some other action taken over the costs. But the takeaway that I'm pointing out here is that these funds should have rates that are set at the right level. And if they are losing money, or you see decreases in net position within these funds, that's a good indication that something is wrong. So I do just want to point out that overall change in net position for each of these funds. So starting in the water fund, there was an increase, 433,000. I will say that 405,000 of that was related to a capital contribution, so asset payments. Those are not going to be recurring year to year, but your overall change in net position still was positive, even if you're accounting for that. Your gas fund had an increase this year of 129,000, and your sewer fund had an increase of 240. So overall, these funds were in good shape. We did not see any indications of any rate issues. They appear to be operating correctly. All right. I tried to keep that as short as I could. Still give you guys a good picture of everything. In addition to the audit report, there are two additional letters. One is our required auditor disclosure letter. This includes any journal entries, any significant disclosures, any difficulties that we had with the performance of the audit. There were some journal entries provided. That's very typical. Overall, there was not any significant difficulties with performance, and the audit went as planned. On the finding side, there were several recommendations. I typically don't go over those in detail, but if you had any specific questions over those, I'd be happy to answer.
Mike, had one, I just wanted to counsel because we had talked about it here recently. First one is with the credit card and the debit card. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of us having a credit card versus debit card program or access?
Sure. Yeah. So the city utilizes debit cards for staff, certain department heads to make purchases. This isn't uncommon to allow some sort of credit card or P card for certain city staff, but what is fairly uncommon is the use of a debit card as opposed to a credit card. The issues with debit cards are you do not have the ability to review and approve a purchase before it's physically taken out of your bank. So once a debit card purchase is made, that money has transferred and is in the vendor's hands, and if you find an error or something was taken or purchased incorrectly, it's very difficult to get that money back. So the preferred and recommended approach, if cities do want to use some sort of purchase card, is a credit card program. And with that, there would certainly be a policy around that as far as the types of expenditures that could be made, the limits, who's responsible for reviewing and approving all purchases. typically that's going to be the department head, and then also your accounting department would review and make sure those purchases are correct before physically paying the credit card. So in those situations, if you do find an error, um, it can be communicated to the credit card company. And the credit card company can put a hold on that, reverse it, or you can obtain it, stop it before it happens. But if you're dealing with debit cards, that it's like almost like a blank check. It can be taken directly out of your bank account. Yeah. You want to avoid those.
I appreciate it, Mike, and I know Zach and Yvonne were working on that with our banking institution for us to be able to have that and make it a lot more secure. The other one is just, I'll come back to Yvonne and ask, see how we're doing, but reconciliation, I know, every month. Talk a little bit about that, Mike, and what you found on that.
So the bank reconciliation is the comment you're talking about, and the city was a little bit behind on the bank reconciliation process. So that's when Yvonne or the accountant or whoever's in that position will review all the activity for the year in the city's accounting system and compare that to the actual bank statements. And then if there's any differences or discrepancies between those two, those may be reconciling items. If they need to be reviewed or looked into, you have that opportunity at that point. That is it's a very important process because the activity, the bank account activity includes all your deposits, all of your expenditure activity. So if what the city's books say is not consistent with the bank statement and vice versa, you want to know about that as quickly as possible. So anytime the bank reconciliation process gets behind, first off, it's very difficult to get caught back up. It's not an easy process whenever you're looking at things that are months old. It's very difficult. And then you also have your current duties to perform. So whenever we see bank reconciliations that are not maintained timely, we want to make sure we stress that to the cities to get that caught up, and going forward, make sure you have a process and a plan to do that. Ideally, it would be done monthly. Not always possible, but you really don't want to get it more than a month or two behind, or else it's just very difficult to get caught back up. So if you do find an error, what could happen and what often happens whenever these bank reconciliations get significantly behind, maybe six plus months, when you're looking at something that's 6 months old and you find an issue, it's much harder to go back and backtrack and figure out what might have caused it. If there was a fraudulent check that went out, now that check is 6 months old instead of 30 days old. Or if there was some sort of fraudulent electronic payment or phishing, which happens quite often. Phishing emails where vendors may provide electronic payment information or changes to electronic payment information that city have on file. City has on file. Those things are very time is of the essence to get that money back. So if you're working with a bank, you find it right away, it can be addressed. If you find it 6 months later, you pretty much assume that's going to be fine. So,
Yvonne, I know you inherit. Yvonne, I know you inherit some of this, and you're trying to get everything. How close are we getting closer and closer to being able to? Okay, we should be able to get what Mike is saying. We should be able to get within a month, right? Okay. Yeah. Ideally, that's best practices. Catch everything. on if you run into any challenges here in the next few months, and we're not getting where we need to get, bring it to council. But we need to get that tidied up. I think, we talked about it the last time. Go ahead and take care of that. But I know you inherit some of this, so you need to just go ahead and take care of business. That's what I had. Council, is there anything that you want to ask Mike, or? Okay, so overall, good, Mike? We look good?
Yeah, I mean, we had some findings and, you know, I think you guys are taking steps to address those and hopefully fund balance. Yeah, but, you know, first year audits can be difficult. So,
Yeah.
you know, I assume going forward, things are going to be a little more streamlined and efficient and should be better. So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate the time. We need to have a vote on the acceptance of the actual audit. So, council member, if I can get that. A motion. Second. Great, appreciate that. Any additional discussion? If there's anything after review, we need to get with Mike. Mike can help us out. If we can get with Vaughn, talk to Vaughn first. Get the correction. Okay, with all that in mind, all in favor? Opposed? All right. Mike, thank you so much for the adjustment and taking care of us tonight so we can go ahead and take care of our audit. Appreciate all the inputs and the help on that.
absolutely. No problem. I do apologize. I couldn't be there in person again and appreciate the flexibility.
Yes, sir. We'll work on that agreement, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
All right, council, we'll do one last thing because then we can go ahead and take a break and we'll go into executive session. So if it's okay, we'll go ahead and continue on item number 9. This is informational items. So anything, okay, anything in the back, informational, pass on.
They've had a great interest from our business community downtown, and because of that, they are kind of reorganizing and trying to figure out, and so they're going to have to kind of figure out and do kind of one a month. So they're just going to hold off. So unfortunately, it's not really going to align with what we thought originally, but we're still planning to do it. It's still going to happen. In the interim, though, I've talked with Julian about cleaning up around the Gidley house. So we obviously took that tree down that was in bad shape around there. We're just doing some other pruning around there, preparing for that. We're still on the list to be kind of at the beginning of their time frame, but just wanted to give you a heads up that that's not going to happen this Friday as originally. So, but and this Saturday is the cleanup event.
The cleanup, it's just the dumpsters, right?
Just the dumpsters.
We're not
yes.
doing trash pickup.
I don't have anybody that, yeah, unless they show up. We'll have the stuff here, but I doubt.
The only thing is if we're gonna do that, make sure that we have the updated sign up sheets. Yeah. I think we have to do it for here. All right. Anything back? There. Go. Awesome.
Do we still have the same people doing? I mean, this has been brought up before. I have a couple of residents. They keep on telling me that they have not gotten their bill for the water bill. So they asked me, what can I do about it? I said I can tell them. I said, but if you want to get the bill over with, just do whatever you've been doing every month and pay it. And so we're gonna get a late fee. I said, no, you shouldn't as long as you're paying it. So if it's a different fee, the city will take care of it.
Nothing has changed. We still have the same company, but we're noticing we're getting a lot of them coming back to us as undeliverable, even though nothing literally has changed on the address or anything or how they're delivered. She's got that couple hundred sitting in the office that have come back. So, no, I mean, nothing literally, it's how they were sent out before. So, I mean, it literally, we're not sure what's going on. I can tell you we're experiencing it. Code enforcement has the problem with green cards not coming back, that for, the certified mail. So something's going on with mail right now. But I mean, obviously we'll work with people. We're not gonna,
They keep on telling me, what do we pay? And I'm like, pay what you paid last time.
But I can tell you that if you receive one stack that it was somebody's address for a whole year, talking about like sub or here, a whole year, one stack was there.
It's something. Well, we'll look into it, but I will tell you that it's not so much here, it's Parent Vital. Everything happens up in Parent Vital is the key of working with them. But definitely get with them so you don't have to take care of it.
So Mayor, to make this informational, do you know the website where they can log in and get their bill? So go. Okay, so go to the city of Lido website, and there'll be a link there where you can go and actually check the bill, and it'll give you the exact amount that you're owed. That's not your owe, that you owe.
Good point. Okay.
Yeah, call the city if you need it.
All right, informational items. Just want to go ahead and say thanks to PD and Public Works, overnight and prior to with the storm that we had last night. It worked out really good, taking care of our folks around here. I want to say thanks to PD and Public Works also for testing our sirens and the radio test that went great. I think we figured out the sirens, and I think it's worked out really good. So appreciate that help, Matt. Thanks to Public Works for taking care of a lot of projects. We've had a few things that we've had to take care of and dealing with the telemetry too, so we really appreciate that. Reminder, just like we said, but please pass the word around 16 May this Saturday, starting at 8 o'clock here in the high school with the dumpsters. It's very popular. Tell folks, please make sure that they bring their water bill with them. Take care of them. But as soon as they're full, they're gone, and that is it. So last time we got done early with all of them. Boys baseball, areas champs, they're actually going up, and they're going to be playing Orange Grove just like they did last year. So looking forward to that. We have the boys. We got 3 boys that are in state competition on Thursday night. We'll be running up in Austin. Looking forward to hearing some good news on that one. 19 May, we have Special Olympics at the school track. So if you have some time on that during the day, go out there and support our Special Olympics program. They do it a regional, right? So they bring kids from all over the school. It's a good time. Go out there and support that too. Right around the corner, we got Memorial Day. So for that, DFW will be doing the mostly cemetery and other events at the time. That one is meant for us to reflect on those who have served and passed away. Memorial Day, please take care of them. I'm gonna add a little extra on that. If you know of a spouse that is still with us and their family passed away, that is the time for us to spend some time. And right around the corner, we also have the graduation, 29th of May. So school is almost done. Almost done right around the corner too. So there's a lot of festivities, a lot of banquets, a lot of stuff going on. And let's go out there and support the kids. Birthdays, Ashley, right around the corner. Actually, we already had hers. Hers already happened. We got Matt's coming a few weeks from now. And then a few more weeks. We got a few more weeks. We got Bonds too. We'll have our next meeting after that. So it's right around the corner. All right. Any last minute information we're gonna pass on? All right. Let's go ahead and move on to item number 10, executive session. This is City Council, City of Lido may convene an executive session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with the attorney, and 551.074, personal matters. Discuss and consider the following items. A, discussion concerning ongoing state and federal litigation. B, discussion and update on Project ARC. And C, employment evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public official or employee, city administrator. Paula, if you can go ahead and show us going into executive session. It is 8:36 p.m. right, if they can hear it. Can they hear it? Let's just buy new mics. We've had these since, yeah, let's get the new ones. We've had these since COVID. Yeah, this is like COVID. So, all right, let's go ahead and show Paula. It is 9:16 p.m. No action taken in the back. Let's go ahead and move on to item number 11. Discussion and possible action regarding matters discussed in executive session.
I'd like to make a motion. To authorize our city administrator to negotiations and when necessary to proceed with discuss.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Got a second? Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All yeas, motion carries forward. Zach, you can be busy. That'll be good. It is 9:17 right now. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
There,
Second, okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Thank you, council. We got Austin. Thank you. We got goodies. We got goodies in the back. There we go.